The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Reverend Linda Smith Cherry of the Glover Memorial Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York, will deliver today's invocation. Rev.
Let us pray. Father, we come today in your presence seeking wisdom. We are seeking what is necessary and what comes from you. We are asking you that you would please give us everything that we are in need of during this particular time. We ask it in the mighty and matchless name of Jesus the Christ. Father, we ask you that you give us guidance and wisdom. We ask that you bless all the senators, assemblymen, elected officials. Give them the wisdom and strength and discernment as they navigate the complexities of their roles. Guide them in making decisions that serve best interests of their constituents and the state as a whole. We ask it all in your name. And even when it is difficult that they make the right decisions, we ask that as well. May they be a source of hope, Father, and unity for those they represent. Amen.
Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Friday, May 9, 2025, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Thursday, May 8, 2025, is read and approved on motion the Senate adjourn.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentation of positions. Messages from the Assembly. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, communications, and reports from state offices. Motions and resolutions. Senator Serrano.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On page 31, I offer the following amendments to calendar 743, Senate print number 355. I ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendments are received and the bill retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to call up my bill number print 4728, recalled from the Assembly, which is now at the desk.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 391, Senate Print 4728 by Senator Sanders, an act in relation to establishing the New York State Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Study Task Force.
I now move to reconsider the vote by which this bill was passed.
Call the roll on reconsideration.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sue Cousins White, ayes 56.
The bill is restored to its place on the third reading calendar.
I now offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received. Senator Serrano.
Please recognize Senator Lanza for a motion.
Senator Lanza.
Thank you, Senator Serrano. Mr. President, on behalf of Senator Rhodes, on page 34, I offer the following amendments to calendar 779, Senate Print 290, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
These amendments are received and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please recognize Senator Sepulveda for an introduction.
Senator Sepulveda, for the purposes of introduction. Senator Sepulveda.
Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to make this introduction. I want to say our honorable authorities, esteemed colleagues, and the cherished Dominican community, my friends. It is my honor to welcome today at the New York State Senate distinguished government officials and members of the legislative branch of the Dominican Republic. This meeting not only strengthens our institutional ties, but also serves as a bridge of cooperation and brotherhood between our communities, reflecting the historical and cultural bonds that unite our nation. I am filled with satisfaction and gratitude to be here with you to recognize the efforts, dedication, and tireless work of the Dominican leaders who, day after day, commit themselves passionately to the well-being of their communities. Their commitment inspires and leaves a profound impact on those who have the privilege of witnessing their work. In just a few days, after the month anniversary of the tragic tragedy at the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude to the brave and efficient emergency authorities of the Dominican Republic. I especially thank General Juan Manuel Mendez, Director of the Emergency Operations Center, Colonel Randolfo Rijo, Director of the National 911 Emergency and Security Systems, and the Director of Civil Defense, Juan Salas, for their swift and coordinated and deeply humane response to the tragedy where 233 people died. Your actions in the face of this tragedy were admirable examples of responsibility, solidarity, and commitment. In the midst of uncertain pain and anguish, many families held on to hope. With steadfast hearts and commitment souls, you become a beacon of light in the darkness. You are a source of comfort to those in grief, strength to those who could go no further, and decisive action in moments when fear took hold. Today, we recognize you, not only for what you did, but for what you represented: solidarity, bravery, and compassion. In every direction made, in every effort carried out, you showed the great human greatness, that human greatness can flourish even in the saddest of circumstances. It comes in silence, in the form of outstretched hands and a word of encouragement, or as sleepless nights in the service of others. I also want to offer special recognition to the Honorable Senator from the province of Monsignor Noel, Hector Acosta. His distinguished career in public service, unwavering commitment to the development and well-being of his community and the Dominican Republic are worthy of admiration and respect. Monsignor Noel is a beautiful province located in the heart of the country, has benefited from his visionary leadership and close connection to the people, resulting in real and positive changes in the lives of its citizens. His example inspires all of us who believe in politics as a tool for social transformation. From this honorable chamber in the heart of New York, a city that is home to the vibrant and hardworking Dominican community, I reaffirm my commitment to continue strengthening those bonds and to always recognize the greatness of the men and women who work for a better future for our peoples. I thank the President of the Dominican Republic, Ricardo de los Santos Polanco, and the Senator from the province of Maria Trinidad Sanchez, my brother Alexis Vitoria Jeb, for their constant support and willingness in every legislative initiative we shared. I also thank my colleagues from both sides of the chamber. Honorables autoridades, estimados colegas, apreciada comunidad dominicana, amigas y amigos. Es para mí un honor dar la bienvenida hoy en la sede del Senado del Estado de Nueva York a distinguidos funcionarios de gobierno y miembros del Poder Legislativo de la República Dominicana. Este encuentro no solo fortalece los lazos institucionales, sino que también representa un puente de cooperación y hermandad entre nuestras comunidades, reflejando los vínculos históricos y culturales que unen a nuestros países. Me llama de satisfacción y gratitud estar aquí con ustedes para reconocer el esfuerzo, la dedicación y el trabajo incansable de los líderes dominicanos que día tras día se entregan con pasión y bienestar de su comunidad. Su compromiso inspira y deja huellas profundas a quienes tienen el privilegio de conocer a su labor. A pocos días de cumplirse un mes de la lamentable tragedia ocurrida en la discoteca Jet Set de Santo Domingo, quiero extender un sincero reconocimiento a las valientes y eficientes autoridades de emergencias de la República Dominicana. Agradezco especialmente al general Juan Manuel Méndez, director del Centro de Operaciones de Emergencia, el coronel Randolfo Rijos, director del Sistema Nacional de Atención, Emergencia y Seguridad 911, y al director de la Defensa Civil, licenciado Juan Salas por su respuesta rápida, coordinadora y profundamente humana ante la tragedia ocurrida en la discoteca Jet Set, en la cual fallecieron 233 personas. Su labor en ese lamentable suceso fue un ejemplo admirable de responsabilidad, solidaridad y compromiso. En medio de la incertidumbre, el dolor y la angustia, muchas familias se aferraban a la esperanza. Con el corazón firme y el alma comprometida, ustedes se convirtieron en la luz medio de la oscuridad. Fueron consuelos para quienes sufrían, fuerza para los que ya no podían más y acción decidida cuando el medio paralizaba. Hoy queremos reconocer no solo por lo que hicieron, sino por lo que representan: solidaridad, valentía y compasión. En cada decisión que tomaron, en cada esfuerzo que realizaron, demostraron que la grandeza humana florece incluso en los escenarios más tristes. Nos recordamos que el heroísmo no siempre lleva uniforme ni espera aplausos. A veces llegan en silencio, en forma de una mano extendida y de una palabra de aliento o de una jornada sin descanso. De igual modo, quiero reconocer de manera especial a ese gran senador por la provincia, Monseñor Noel, Héctor Acosta, conocido en el mundo como el Torito. Su destacada trayectoria en el servicio público, así como su firme compromiso con el desarrollo y el bienestar de su comunidad y la República Dominicana, constituyen un ejemplo digno de admiración y respeto. Monseñor Noel, una hermosa provincia ubicada en el corazón del país, ha contado con su liderazgo visionario y cercanía al pueblo, lo cual ha generado cambios reales y positivos en la vida de sus ciudadanos. Su ejemplo inspira a todos los que creemos en la política como herramienta de transformación social. Desde la honorable Cámara en el corazón de Nueva York, del Senado, una ciudad que también es hogar de una vibrante y trabajadora comunidad dominicana, reitero mi compromiso de seguir fortaleciendo estos lazos y de reconocer siempre la grandeza de los hombres y mujeres que trabajan por un mejor futuro por nuestras naciones y especialmente por la República Dominicana. Agradezco al presidente del Senado de la República Dominicana, Ricardo de los Santos, y a mi hermano de la provincia, María Trinidad Sánchez, el senador Alexis Victoria Yep, por el respaldo constante y la disposición demostrada en cada una de las iniciativas legislativas que hemos compartido. Asimismo, agradezco a mis colegas de ambas cámaras por unirse a este evento. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Senator Sepulveda. To our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. Bienvenidos al Senado. We extend to you all the privileges and courtesies of this House. Personal point of privilege, Dios, Patria y Libertad. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a privilege resolution at the desk. I ask that you please take that up and recognize Senator Adabo.
Secretary Reed.
Resolution 904 by Senator Adabo, recognizing the atrocities of the Thomas Indian School and the impact it had on indigenous communities.
Senator Adabo on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe in order to resolve and to address bad behavior or disrespect, we first have to acknowledge it. As chair of the subcommittee for the State Native American Relations, I, along with Senator Borrello, introduced this resolution to acknowledge the horrific treatment of the Native American children and families experienced at the Thomas Indian School back in the 1800s, also known as the Thomas Asylum for Orphan and Destitute Indian Children. Founded in Irving, New York in 1855, the initially good-intentioned site turned ugly when the state took it over in 1875, resulting in children being taken away from their families and these children being stripped of their language, their native language, and their culture. The emotional and psychological impact of this mistreatment done by the Thomas Indian School over 150 years ago is still being felt by the Native Americans today. With us today are some of the nations behind me in the gallery. This resolution seeks to raise awareness, acknowledge the unacceptable behavior, and learn from it as we go forward, showing our respect that the Native Americans deserve, and we work with them to address this issue. Mr. President, I'll be voting yes on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Addabbo. Senator Borrello on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in solemn support of this resolution, and I do so not only as a member of this legislative body, but as a representative of a district that includes the sovereign territories of the Seneca Nation of Indians. The Cattaraugus territory of the Seneca Nation is located in the southwestern corner of New York State along the Cattaraugus Creek from Gowanda to Lake Erie. It spans parts of Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, and Erie counties. The Allegheny Territory is also within Cattaraugus County and includes the city of Salamanca. These are not just places on a map. These are communities with deep historical roots and an enduring cultural legacy. The Seneca Nation has contributed enormously to the fabric of Western New York. Despite centuries of policies aimed at their erasure, the Seneca people have never surrendered their identity. They have fought tirelessly to preserve their language, their customs, and their sovereignty, even as the forces of assimilation bore down on them. The Thomas Indian School, located on the Cattaraugus territory, stands as a stark and shameful reminder of a chapter in American history that saw government power used to strip away language, culture, and identity from the Native children. It's been called a school, but as this resolution rightly says, it was not a haven. It was a tool of forced assimilation. It was part of a system designed to kill the Indian and save the man. That's in quotes. That's what their mission was stated as, to kill the Indian and save the man. Those words still echo with horror today. This ideology and the institutions it gave rise to inflicted wounds that didn't just last a generation. They have echoed across time. They have shaped lives, stolen futures, and fractured families. What happened at the Thomas Indian School and places like it was not just child abuse, it was cultural erasure, and it was sanctioned by the government. As legislators, we often call to look forward, to create policies for tomorrow. But sometimes the most meaningful thing we can do is pause and confront the full truth of our past. That's what this resolution does. And while words alone are never enough, words matter. Acknowledgement matters. Dignity matters. We cannot undo the harm done, but we can and must support the Seneca people and all of the Haudenosaunee Nation in their pursuits of healing. That means respecting their ceremonies, honoring their efforts to bring their lost children home, and ensuring that history is taught honestly for future generations. It's about standing with those who endured the unimaginable and saying clearly and without condition, we see you, we acknowledge you, and we will not forget. I want to thank Senator Addabbo and my fellow sponsors of this resolution. I thank the survivors and the descendants of the Thomas Indian School for their courage. And I respectfully urge my colleagues to join me in this solemn support. I want to thank President J.C. Seneca, my friend, First Lady Nicole Seneca, the members of the Tribal Council that are here, and everyone who has fought hard to bring this forward, to acknowledge what has happened, to ensure that it never happens again. And to my friends, Yahweh. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Borrello. Senator Gallivan on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, rise to condemn something that should have never taken place. I'm grateful that Senator Addabbo, Senator Borrello brought this resolution forward, that it's been a long time coming. I'm certainly glad we're past those types of actions. And I'm very glad and grateful to have President Seneca, members of the Tribal Council, and other members of the nation here today, proud to represent a portion of the Cattaraugus territory, proud to have had a relationship with so many in their government for so many years. And it's because of relationships, I'd like to think my relationship, Senator Borrello's relationship, other governments working together with the Senecas, we're able to do better things for our community, certainly not the types of things that were done in the past, the negative things, but working together in a positive manner to make Western New York a better place. So I am grateful for our relationship, grateful for our friendship, and very proud to stand here today where we are condemning what took place. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Gallivan. To our guests in the chamber, but we are guests on your land. I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Serrano.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm
Please-
sorry. The question is on the resolution. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. I didn't think so. The resolution is adopted. Senator Serrano.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please take up previously adopted Resolution 905 by Senator Baskin. Read the resolution title only and recognize Senator Baskin.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 905 by Senator Baskin, recognizing May 2005 as Apraxia Awareness Month in the state of New York.
Senator Baskin on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to welcome my good friends from the Western New York region, the Malecki family, as we acknowledge and celebrate Apraxia Awareness Month. It's wonderful to have the Malecki family join us here in Albany as we honor you for raising awareness about apraxia, a rare and serious speech disorder. Back home, Mom Courtney is a Buffalo Public School special ed teacher at Lorraine Elementary, and Richard, Dad, works in sales. Proud and busy parents of Matthew, who is here today, Andrew, who is here today, and my good friend, Jack. The Maleckis have been tireless advocates as they educate our community about apraxia, which Jack was diagnosed with at 5 years old at the Robert Wagner Center at Oishei Children's Hospital in my district. Now, Jack, who's 8 years old, is a student at Blaisdell Elementary. He is receiving intensive speech and therapy sessions, and he is doing great. I first met this amazing family when I served in the Erie County Legislature. And while apraxia may not be a well-known term amongst us, many others are now learning about it because of this family's tireless advocacy. Courtney and her family speak to people across our state and even throughout Canada about how they can help their loved ones who struggle with apraxia. Through their determination and advocacy, they are lending a helping hand to individuals locally and beyond. After all, every child deserves a voice. The Maleckis' efforts have lit up our area, and I mean that quite literally. A couple of examples are, on May 16th, the Peace Bridge in Buffalo, New York, which connects the United States to Canada, will be lit up blue. And one day later, in Niagara Falls, on both the American and Canadian sides, it will also be illuminated in blue in celebration of apraxia awareness. Mr. President, I've had the privilege of celebrating this month with this family year after year after year in my previous role, and I have to say that as much as I, like them, I'm a fearless advocate for people who struggle with different abilities. I admire that about this family. But the day after Mother's Day, I have to highlight Courtney, because what I admire most is her advocacy as a mother. I'm a mother, and nobody can advocate for my children, nobody can advocate for my baby like me. And I see that in you, Courtney. I am so proud to see Jack, after all of these years, have nearly a full-fledged conversation with me, which I don't think he's ever been able to do before. But he's talking up a storm, and this different way of learning is certainly not going to hold him back. So it is a privilege, as my first year as a senator, to welcome them in my new capacity here in Albany, and I am so grateful for all that this family does. Happy Mother's Day, Courtney, and may so many women and mothers across our region learn to fight for their babies the way you have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Baskin. Senator Gallivan, the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too rise to recognize the Malicki family, welcome them to Albany, to thank Senator Baskin for bringing this resolution forward, and more importantly, thank the Malicki family for standing up. Certainly, oh, you're going to stand up later, but you can stay up if you want. I meant for standing up and advocating. For standing up and advocating for others. I mean, certainly you stand up and we hear about Mother's Day and how a mother will stand up for her children. We know fathers will stand up for their children as well, but very few people are willing to have the courage and the energy to stand up and try to help others and educate people about something that many of us do not know very much about. This is something I just learned thanks to Senator Baskin, thanks to you. And I hope all of us here continue to advocate for this, to help educate people so that we can help others throughout the state. But today is your day, Jack. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I thank you, Mr. President, for your time.
Thank you, Senator Gallivan. To the Malicki family, especially Jack, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. I extend to you all of the privileges and courtesies of this House. Now, please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on May 6. Senator Serrano.
At the request of the sponsors, the resolutions are open for co-sponsorship.
These resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator Serrano.
Please take up the reading of the calendar.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 114, Senate Print 1811 by Senator Fernandez, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins White.
Senator Fernandez to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. This legislation introduced is a solemn recognition of a crisis that has touched every corner of our state. By designating May 9th as Opioid Awareness Day, we are naming a truth that too many families already know. This epidemic is still with us, and it's still costing us lives. We are remembering the sons, the daughters, the neighbors, the friends gone too soon from overdose. We are honoring those in recovery who have made it through another day and those who are still trying. We are thanking the harm reduction workers, the EMTs, the grief counselors, and the parents who have turned loss into action. Awareness is a commitment to education, to prevention, and to care that meets people where they are. It's a recognition that stigma kills and that silence is not an option. So let this day be a starting point, a day where we tell the truth about what opioids are doing to our communities, a day where we reject shame and choose compassion, a day where we remember that every life has value and that no one is disposable. I urge my colleagues to support this bill because awareness is the first step, and the lives we have tomorrow may depend on the actions that we choose to take today. Thank you.
Senator Fernandez to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Webb to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank our esteemed Chair of Substance Use Disorder here in the Senate, Senator Fernandez, who has been a tireless advocate for this important issue. This legislation that we are doing today is not a symbolic gesture. It is a call to action. It is a declaration that we, as a state, will no longer look away. We will no longer speak of the opioid crisis in hushed tones, and most certainly in secret conversations, or leave families to grieve in silence. Every corner of our state has felt the weight of this epidemic and continues to feel it. From rural towns to urban centers, opioid addiction has claimed lives, shattered families, and left communities reeling. Behind every overdose statistic, it is someone's child, their son, their daughter, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, someone they went to school with, a coworker. These are people whose lives mattered and who should still be here. May 9th will serve as a solemn reminder of the lives that were lost and as a moment for education, conversation, and ultimately prevention. It will give voice to families who have suffered in silence. It will encourage those who are battling addiction to seek help without shame. And it will remind us as policymakers that year after year, our work is far from done on this important issue. Mr. President, awareness is not just simply a passive act. It is a commitment. It is a foundation for action. When we understand the scope of this crisis, when we humanize it, we make better policy. We must fund and continue to fund better treatment, and we must continue to build compassionate systems. I vote aye and encourage our colleagues to do the same. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Webb to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Scarcella-Spanson to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Fernandez, for your work in designating May 9th as Opioid Awareness Day and for all of the work that you're doing through your committee. The stark reality is that opioid addiction continues to devastate our communities here in New York State. Staten Island, in particular, has faced an unrelenting opioid crisis with overdose rates disproportionately high compared to other parts of the state. These sobering statistics are not just numbers. They represent real people whose lives were cut short, families left shattered, and communities left grieving. But beyond these statistics, I speak from personal experience. I've lost more friends than I can count due to overdoses, including one as early as last week. To keep the privacy of some of the people who have overdosed, I will read some of their first names. I spoke with their family to make sure that's okay. But just in the last few years, Anastasia, Michael, Brandon, Michael, Julie, Peter, Matthew, John, Robert, Tommy, and of course, I always make mention of one of my closest friends, Joey Fellini. Everything I do up here on this, I do for him and for all the ones that we have lost. This is a real issue. These are real people. All of these people have families, children, moms, dads, siblings that this has impacted. Truly, again, Senator Fernandez, for my own children growing up on Staten Island, I cannot thank you for the work that you're doing through your committee. So thank you, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Scarcella-Spanson to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Martins to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also rise to support this bill, and I want to thank the sponsor. It's about time we realize that we're not going to arrest our way through this crisis. It's a mental health crisis that impacts every corner of our state. Although, Mr. President, I'm clear, I also don't support injection sites. I also don't support arresting our way through this crisis. When someone overdoses and they are brought back, it's a cry for help. And it's about time we treated it as a mental health crisis. It's about time we made sure that they had the resources that they need so that they can combat the demons that they face each and every day. There isn't a family in this state that hasn't suffered through this crisis. There isn't a community that hasn't felt the grief of having lost loved ones to this crisis. So I'm happy to rise and thank the sponsor and to vote aye, Mr. President. But it's about time we treated it as a mental health crisis, and as a mental health crisis, make sure that each and every one of our friends and colleagues and loved ones receive the help that they deserve. Thank you.
Senator Martins to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 347, Senate Print 2548 by Senator Myrie, enactment of Real Property Actions and Proceedings Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 120th day, shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ortsville, Cousins White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 347, voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Barillo, Canzeri Fitzpatrick, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Palumbo, Rhodes, Ralston, Sec, Tedisco, Walzig, Weber, and White. Ayes 35, nays 21.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 520, Senate Print 5983A by Senator Harkam, enact to amend the Environmental Conservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 520, voted in the negative are Senators Barillo, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Lanza, Oberacker, O'Mara, Steck, and Tedisco. Ayes 47, nays 9.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 602, Senate Print 5563 by Senator Mayer, enacting the general municipal law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 637, Senate Print 5285 by Senator Sepulveda, enact to amend the Surrogates Court Procedure Act.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 30th day, and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 637, voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Barillo, Canzeri Fitzpatrick, Chan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Palumbo, Rhodes, Steck, Tedisco, Walzig, Weber, and White. Ayes 37, nays 19.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 640, Senate Print 6739 by Senator Holman Siegel, enacting the Uniform City Court Act.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 640, voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Barillo, Canzeri Fitzpatrick, Chan, Griffo, Martins, Oberacker, O'Mara, Palumbo, Steck, Tedisco, Walzig, Weber, and White. Ayes 42, nays 14.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 648, Senate Print 6442 by Senator Harkam, enact directing the Commissioner of the Division of Criminal Justice Services to study gender disparity in sentencing outcomes.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 648, voted in the negative are Senators Barillo, Chan, Martins, Murray, O'Mara, Walzig, and White. Ayes 49, nays 7.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 673, Senate Print 4612 by Senator Ramos, enact to amend the Workers' Compensation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 30th day, and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 673, voted in the negative, Senator Lanza. Ayes 55, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 678, Senate Print 2491 by Senator Gurnardez, enact to amend the Criminal Procedure Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 180th day, and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 678, voted in the negative are Senators Barillo, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Rhodes, Steck, Walzick, and White. Ayes 42, nays 14.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 700, Senate Print 374 by Senator Gianaris, an act to amend the legislative law.
Read the last section.
Section 7, this action will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 700, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Barillo, Kenzari Fitzpatrick, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Palumbo, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, Weber, and White. Ayes 37, nays 19.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 712, Senate Print 7672A by Senator Martinez, an act to amend the general municipal law.
Read the last section.
Section 6, this action will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 712, voted in the negative, Senator Walzick. Ayes 55, nays 1.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 717, Senate Print 5280 by Senator Sepulveda, an act to amend the real property tax law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 728, Senate Print 6023 by Senator Baskin, an act from the State Administrative Procedure Act.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Baskin to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of my bill to require the state to publish a small business compliance guide online to make it easier for our small businesses to understand the new rules and the regulations of their industry. We know our small businesses are what make our neighborhoods thrive and what keeps our economy going. We also know that small businesses don't always have the capacity to keep up with the latest laws and rules that impact them. So as we here in this chamber pass new laws and state agencies create new policies and rules, this bill will make it so that we can clearly communicate these new standards to our small businesses. This guide that we will publish online annually, and we will include all relevant information in layman's terms. It will include information on permits, licenses, taxes, insurance, workplace safety, workers' compensation, wages, hours, and benefits. We want to put our small businesses in a position to succeed. And in order to do that, we need to provide them with the information so that it's easy to understand. This will help our small businesses quickly understand the new information and get them back to the day-to-day task to help their businesses grow and make our state thrive. As the chair of the Procurement and Contracts Committee, it is important to me that we engage as many small businesses as possible to benefit from state projects and spending. Making this guide more accessible and easier to read is the first step towards growing our state's relationship with small businesses. Mr. President, I proudly vote in the affirmative, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Senator Baskin to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Barillo to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to thank Senator Baskin for bringing this forward. As a small business owner, I can tell you that navigating the complicated web of regulations that change every year is a difficult thing. You know, if you're a big business, you've got lawyers, you've got consultants, you've got people telling you, analyzing the laws and telling you how to proceed, but not a small business owner. It's really up to yourself to figure out for yourself how it's going to impact your business. And oftentimes, that results in people unintentionally violating those rules. And there's fines and fees and lawyers' fees. So this guide should be, I think, a step in the right direction so people can at least understand what the new rules are and how they impact their business. I think it's an important step. The best thing we can really do is deregulate more things here in New York State and really just make it easier to do business here. But absent that, a guide on what the new regulations are will certainly help, so I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Barillo to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 769, Senate Print 4408 by Senator May, enacting the Environmental Conservation Law.
The bill will be laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 909, Senate Print 7620 by Senator Martinez, enact to authorize certain healthcare professionals to provide professional services in the state in connection with the 2025 Ryder Cup.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect September 22nd, 2025.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart-Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
The bill's passed.
Calendar number 910, Senate Print 7623 by Senator Serrano, enact in relation to authorizing certain medical professionals to provide medical services during the FIFA Club World Cup.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect June 1st, 2025.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart-Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
The bill's passed.
Calendar number 911, Senate Print 7636 by Senator C. Ryan, enact in relation to authorizing certain healthcare professionals in connection with the Milan Cortina Winter Olympic Games, Lake Placid 2026.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect January 27, 2026.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart-Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 56.
The bill's passed. Senator Serrano, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Thank you. On behalf of Majority Leader Stewart-Cousins, in consultation with Minority Leader Ort, I hand up the following committee assignments of the Minority Conference and ask that they please be filed in the Journal.
The hand-up is received and shall be filed in the Journal. Senator Serrano.
Can we return to motions?
Secretary Reed. Senator Serrano.
Mr. President, on page 25, I offer the following amendments to calendar number 657, Senate Print number 3838. I ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendments are received and the bill retain its place in the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until tomorrow, Tuesday, May 13th at 3 p.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, May 13th at 3 p.m. Go New York, go New York, go.